Semi-main event, IWGP Global Heavyweight Title match. David Finlay defeats YOSHI-HASHI in 21 minutes and 38 seconds, and I love this matchup.
I love this match too, Jeremy. I saw a lot of people online on the Twitter talking about this match in the lead up to it and kind of saying that they had high expectations and high hopes and were really kind of diving in. And I feel like a lot of that probably is coming off the back end of the media campaign with the YOSHI-HASHI interview. Plus, does seem to be a certain kind of groundswell for David Finlay throughout the year. That being the case, the match ruled. We can talk about the match here in just a moment, but like we've known for a while that YOSHI-HASHI is a guy that can go when called upon, can have great matches, and that's been the case for a while now. But David Finlay, for me, in many cases, has been a guy where, like, yeah, he can have really good top end matches, but he needs like the right opponent to sort of get there, whether that's like a Jay White or Will Ospreay, or in other cases, maybe like Tomohiro Ishii. But in all of those instances, it's always been like the same cast of people that have sort of carried him there. And I felt like this year in the G1, he started to kind of take a step forward. Maybe he hasn't hit the, where I would like to see a Bullet Club leader hit just yet, but his strength of work and consistency is starting to compile over a period of time. And then this match with YOSHI-HASHI, a guy who they've had matches before, but never to this level. I feel like both of them are taking strides to make their mark and sort of acclimate to that higher main event level house style of New Japan style wrestling that, like, it takes a really long time to get there, but when you're there, you're one of the best in the world. And as crazy as that might sound to some people who are probably listening, I know that there's people that are like dialed into New Japan that listen to us, but there's also lapsed fans who listen because we watch the shit that they don't want to watch and they kind of cherry pick off of it. And it's like, to do matches as intricate and emotional as these guys were able to do flawlessly for 21 minutes plus, you're going to be hard pressed to find anything like that in the world, really. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say this was match of the year caliber, but I'm like 4.5 on the match.
Same. I'm 4.5 on it. There was so much emotion, like you mentioned. They did a great job with the YOSHI-HASHI profile piece and really just kind of digging into his story and his comebacks from all the failures in his career. And this was the same building where he had the infamous the Titus O'Neil spot where he was running down the ramp to make a save and slipped to the ramp, hit his head on the ring post, busted his head open, got knocked out. And so having to come back from that moment, come back to this arena in a big, semi-main event spot was such a huge thing. And then also that played a huge part into the beginning part of the match. They teased that on the ramp. Finlay was, teasing him with that. He ripped off the apron, the skirt apron, and then he was, remember this? You remember this, YOSHI-HASHI? Like, banging his head against the apron, and then they went up the ramp. And then YOSHI-HASHI ran down the ramp into that drop kick to kind of, really conquer that enemy in the ramp there and overcome that moment. And so it was just a huge moment. And then throughout the match,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I think commentary did a great job. Chris Charlton did a great job, really telling that story too. Fill out those spots, and yeah, just the whole match. YOSHI-HASHI just kept fighting, kept fighting, and he had like 60% control of the match, and he just gets so many near falls. And with each near fall, I was biting and biting. I'm like, I don't think he's gonna win, but damn, I want him to win this match. And the crowd was with him. They were roaring, and it was such an electric atmosphere. And Finlay just would cut him off at the right moments, at the right reversals. There was a great reversal from the karma into the stun dog. And man, this was just a really great matchup.
So, okay, I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit. I don't do this too much, but like, the way I watch wrestling has changed somewhat ever since I started wrestling. And you know, I took a very lengthy break from actually doing any sort of wrestling training, but I've been back in the gym doing some stuff. But like this past Tuesday, I was training with Matt, and training with other people and then training with Matt is completely different thing altogether. So like this was the first time I've trained with Matt since like I don't know 2021. It's been years, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um and one of the things that he wanted to work on this week was working on a comeback spot, a hope spot. And when he like was like, "All right, guys, so I want you all to think of a really cool," and like that's always Matt's thing is like, what is something really cool you could be doing? It's got to be something cool, something fun, and something interesting. Like, don't be doing any boring shit. If it's something that's gonna bore him to tears, he doesn't want you fucking doing it. But I always feel pressure because like I'm still at a place where like you know, I know the basics, but not even proficiently. So I'm like, fuck, what is my like comeback spot gonna be? And then I'm like, what the fuck is a comeback spot? You know, like we use these terms as like people that review wrestling. We think we know what it means, but like what we think it means and what wrestlers are actually saying when they're talking about that terminology in terms of like laying out the match might not be the same thing. And I had to like actually, from a psychology standpoint, learn what is the A, B, C, and D of building a comeback spot, right? So that was fun and it was very enlightening. And then I'm watching this match and I'm seeing them do what I learned, but on the highest level, on a level where I'm like, fuck, these guys are like kind of masterful right now. And the way that like not only is it entertaining and also very athletic and fast paced and demanding, but they've got the crowd in the palm of their hand and they're getting the kinds of reactions that these sorts of um spots are intended to elicit. I was like, fuck, they're so good. Like I'm never gonna be as good as Yoshihashi.
Yeah, it was so great. And Yoshihashi was just busting everything out. He had a big flip dive, did the Kumagoroshi brain buster. He locked in that butterfly lock, which we've kind of criticized in the past, but he
But
had
it's
it
his shit.
all.
It's his
He-
shit.
yeah. He had it on though, but then he cranked on the Kimura with it. And I was like, and he's in the middle of the ring. I was like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna tap this man out. I don't think Finlay was gonna get to the ropes, but he got to the ropes, and man, it was just good stuff.
So one thing I will say, I don't want to peel back the curtain too much, but the the key to a very successful and powerful hope spot is when you get cut off by the heel. When you make the people believe you're coming back and you don't come back because the other person does some sort of heel shit that gets the crowd fucking pissed at them, you know. And we're not talking about the boring shit where like you're coming back and then they put you in a headlock and they grind you down to the ground and they halt the match. I'm not talking about that shit, but like the stuff that like, obviously let's give a lot of credit to what Yoshi-Hashi was doing here, but David Finlay, he would cut this dude off and then like fucking buckle bomb him or fucking, like some of the offense that he was doing. I know it's taken a while for us to, and I don't know if I'll ever fully buy into him because underneath it all, I still kind of think that even though he might be like a dick, I don't buy him as being this evil guy the way that like I buy like Fit Finlay, asshole. Fit Finlay is like the most curmudgeony, bastard type of dude that you're like, I wouldn't want to fucking cross him. Like this is a bad dude. I don't ever feel that way about David Finlay, but his power offense is getting over with me to where he just keeps, there's some guys that just keep they're suplex guys. They suplex, and then you're like, okay, I fucking love this. Like, I don't even know if I like this guy, but he's gonna drop people on their heads, so that's cool. He's just power bombing the shit out of people and shoulder breaking them and power bombing them, and he just keeps
Backbreakers.
back breakers. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me put it to you this way. I might be higher in the long term on a high end Jay White match because of some of the character work and heel shtick that he can do in the athleticism. But night in and night out, who would I rather watch their matches? Is it going to be Jay White rolling out to the ground, walking around, stalling shit, falling on the ground, like all the shit that he did? Or am I going to rather watch the guy that's power bombing the fuck out of people and giving them backbreakers and actually working his ass off? You tell me. I don't know. Like, I'm starting to kind of come around on David Finlay in that regard.
Which is so funny because also, they've always been very linked together through their time in the dojo and their whole rivalry. And obviously, it's very clear that New Japan always went with Jay or Finlay, and Jay's beaten him like 7-8 times, or Finlay's got him 1 or 2 times. And so to compare them now, it's like, yes, clearly Jay White was a bigger star, main event Tokyo Dome, IWGP champion, but it's like, yeah, when you really analyze the work and the nitty gritty, it's like, who's putting in more, like, who's maximizing the minutes? And like you mentioned, it's not feeling to do a lot of stalling, the rolling out, the cutting, the theater promo in the middle of the match kind of stuff. And yeah,
I mean, there came a time where like Jay became a better big match wrestler to where he started to do like, I don't even what's the suplex he does where he grabs this, he does the sleeper suplex,
Mhm.
the bloody cross, yada yada yada. He started implementing more kind of high impact moves and sort of exciting stuff, and that was cool. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of times where he just, as part of his heel shtick, he just grinds shit to a halt. Just fine. It's effective. It gets over. I get what it's there for. But like Finlay just takes a different tact. His is grind you out in your face and I'm going to fucking hurt you. I kind of like that. Maybe I don't always buy into the character to the fullest extent. Maybe I think behind those eyes, there's a nice guy still. I just get that vibe. But the work is so good,
Yeah.
and I'm coming around on him.
Yeah, he's definitely really getting into his own now. And another spot I love too is like during that whole butterfly suplex spot, butterfly hole spot was where Gato gave Finlay the shillelagh, but then Goto came out to like stop Gato, and Charlton was like, "This is just like a tag match. How many times have we seen like Goto hold off the other opponent, and YOSHI-HASHI gets the big move and goes for the pin?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good!" Like Goto's holding him off. YOSHI-HASHI's in the legal man. He's gonna get the pin. And man, there's just so much elements of this match that were just awesome.
The feeling I had at the very, very end of it was very often we rate matches and we're like, this was so good, but if it had just gotten to a certain level, blah, 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 whatever. When I was watching this match, I felt like they fucking got there. We're here right now in this moment. I'm enjoying it. I wasn't sure if we were going to get there, but we got there. This is an incredible match, and we're right where they needed to be. And then right when they got there, match ends. And David Finlay puts him out, gets the 1, 2, 3, somewhat clean as I guess you could probably hope for there. Yeah, go check this out if you haven't seen it. I feel like it's one of the best matches of the month. The only other match of the month that I can point to that I felt like was maybe potential, and I probably am still higher on it, would be I really still love Hiromu and Hinare, but these are the two matches that are in that conversation that we're probably gonna have to like suss out next week and figure out what's the match of the month, really.
Yeah. At the end of this match, I was like, I can't believe that I'm liking a Finlay YOSHI-HASHI match better than a Shingo Hinare match.
I can. Those guys have made strides, and they did a lot of work, and
yeah, definitely delivered here. Great stuff.
One thing, Jeremy, I'm just gonna throw this out there. As unbelievable as this is to say, and I don't think he's a strong contender, but like, it's going to be kind of hard to leave David Finlay off of the Wrestler of the Year nominations.
Yeah.
He's probably got to be on there.
Yeah. And that's a good reminder that, award season is going to be in a few months for us. Yeah, we definitely start narrowing down and getting those categories, start to get those nominees locked in. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be a contender.